Hey, Colin, thanks for taking time out for us. What have been your impressions of the first couple of weeks of spring practice?
They've been great. Yesterday was the first full day of pads. Upper pads. It was a good day. A lot to improve on from day one, but it's exciting so far.
For you personally, what's your biggest goal when you come into a spring practice, having done this now before and looking back on what you've learned? What is your biggest goal for you personally?
It's always just technique. I want to be a better pass rusher. I want to be better in coverage. So kind of taking a step back and working on those little details of how I can be better and apply them now, so that when I get into the summer, they roll over into the season.
What was your focus once the season was over to this point? What did you do to kind of prepare yourself for spring practice?
Just normal workouts every day. My body was pretty healthy by the end of the season. Few minor things, nothing bad. So then I just got straight back to work right after the season was done.
What is the thing that you want to do to take your game up another notch in this your senior year?
Like I just said, I think I can be a better pass rusher. I could be better in coverage. Um, I think that could help me make more plays and help the team out overall. So I think that would be big.
How important has it been to you now in this going into your fourth year to have had the same voices as defensive coordinator and linebacker coaches?
It's great because around college football, it's very rare to have same position coach, uh, same defense coordinator, same guys. So it's been really helpful to me, and I think the guys on the team.
What kind of insurance policy is Rayon Lane behind you? Do you think you can use him to more of your advantage, like you say, with the pass rush, knowing that he's there to cover for you?
Yeah, it's very helpful when we have a good secondary back there. Um, I can worry about my job, and I trust that they're doing their job behind me.
He's someone that we don't see a lot of, but he does so much during the offseason. How important has the strength and conditioning coach and his staff been for you guys?
Coach K and his staff has been great. He brings a great energy to the team, to the lifts, to all the workouts. Everything's planned. Everything has a reason behind it, and the guys are really bought into it, and it's been extremely helpful.
And finally, how different is it for you to be in these practices where you're not actually preparing for an opponent or a game, but you're working, like you say, on specific things to get ready for the season?
Yeah, it's different, but you got to keep the same mindset. You got to act like every practice is like a game day to truly get better. So it's a little different, but you got to attack it the same way.
How fired up were you to hear that Coach uh, Volker was staying with all the rumors of him going to the NFL when he said he's staying and committed to you guys?
Yeah, I'm very thankful. He's a fantastic coach. I've been so lucky to have him over these 4 years. So um, I think the whole team's super excited that he's staying.
Thanks a lot, Colin.
Thank you.
Wags.
Colin, you've got to be in more of a leadership role this season. Is that something you're taking on, embracing?
Yeah, I've been definitely trying to. I've always been a guy that leads by example, and I've been challenged to try to be more vocal, try to be that vocal leadership. And I'm trying. I think I have more improving to do, but I'm trying to not only show my effort in the way I play and the way I go about things, but be able to speak and have a voice on the team.
Well, I was just going to ask, that's not necessarily your style, but it is important. Leading by example is good. You do at some point need to, get into some guys, either encouraging them or telling them they've got to do better. Has it been a tough adjustment trying to do that?
Um, yes and no. I have no problem. I've never had a problem going up to a guy and telling him he did something bad or did something wrong, or if he did something good. Um, I think it's just kind of stepping into the spotlight more of the whole team, or the whole defense, trying to be a voice. That's definitely more challenging because that's not the type of person I usually am. But I think it's an important role that someone has to do, and I think I can do that.
I think based on your, resume, your accomplishments, what you've done in your career, you would be a very in line to be a captain. Is that something you aspire to?
If that's what my teammates and coaches choose, then I'd be very thankful for that. Yeah.
So obviously, Will Harbor's been your running mate at inside linebacker now for a couple seasons. How are some of the guys now that will be graduating? What are you seeing as far as some guys that are capable of replacing him in that spot?
Yeah, we have a lot of talent in the linebacker room. So it's going to be a lot of good competition over spring ball over the summer. I know we'll be okay in the inside linebacker room. We have a lot of good young players, and we're going to miss guys like Will Harbor. Definitely miss playing next to him. He was fantastic, but Coach Volker's done a great job preparing the next guys up, and I think we'll be okay.
Who are some of the other guys that are showing you some things at inside linebacker?
Liam Barber right now, he's taking the ones with the mic. We got a lot of guys. Kyle Jacob, he's injured right now, but he'll be coming back. He played some snaps last year too. Joe Grant, he's doing well. We have a lot of guys that are prepared and that will make a name for themselves soon.
So obviously a new offense, and based on the fact that this is the second straight spring that Navy's implementing a new offense, some new plays, new schemes, you would think the defense is way ahead. Is that how does that work out at practice? I mean, this offense has to try to develop, but when you guys have, the schemes, the defensive schemes haven't changed much from Coach Volker taking over from Coach Newberry, and so I would think you guys are way ahead of the offense. Does that kind of make it unfair, if you will?
I wouldn't say we're way ahead. I think, yeah, the offense guys are still adjusting to a lot of things, but like yesterday, it was super competitive. Even with that being their first padded practice, even though we know what we're doing, we still have a lot of things to fix and improve on. So it's great competition out there. It's not like one side's extremely dominant over the other. We have a good offense, we have a good defense, and we're going to put it together as a team.
Well, on that note, offense is not the same one you've seen for so many years. It's some wrinkles, some changes. It's a little bit different. Have you been impressed by some of what you're seeing?
Yeah, definitely yesterday. There's a few times I was confused on the look because I hadn't seen it before. Because a few things they're similar plays, but run a little bit different. So it's definitely cool little wrinkles that they have, and I think it's going to make us a better offense.
So obviously, for you to perform as an inside linebacker, you need the guys up front to keep blockers off you. You've lost two very important guys on the down line in Biscuit and Clay Cromwell. What are you seeing out of the guys vying to replace them at nose guard and defensive tackle?
Yeah, like I said, we have a lot of young talent throughout the team, throughout the defense. We've got guys who have had snaps last year behind those guys, and I think they're going to be fine. They're going to do a great job.
So are you guys, are you started hitting? I mean, I know you have to have a certain number of non-padded practices before you can get after it. Have you accomplished those?
Yeah, we did. We did 2 non-padded practices before spring break, and then we had our first upper pads yesterday.
And
they're in shells right now, Wags, for a couple more. I think one more, and then before they're full pads.
Okay, got you. Do you Coach Newberry is like to have some physical practices in the spring. That's kind of been his mode. Are you prepared for that? And you look forward to that?
Yeah, I look forward to it. They're definitely very physical in the spring and the summer. You got to come to practice with your mindset that you're about to hit somebody. But no, it's fun.
All right, thanks, Colin.
Yep, thank you.
Scott Wyckoff.
Colin, we know a lot about Coach Volker, and we've been around him for now going on 6 seasons. What about Coach Wimberly? What's his style, and how important is he to you and your teammates at linebacker?
Coach Wimberly is very important. He's a great coach. He's a guy that when Coach Volker's busy or he's focused on the defense as a whole, Coach Wimberly, you can pull aside. He'll talk to us. He's a guy that watches each play to see, okay, maybe we stepped wrong here, or we read this the wrong way. He's a great coach to have because he played, in a similar defense, so he knows kind of the personal experience behind it too.
And do you think having him coming back in the second year with him really having his feet underneath him and knowing what the whole Naval Academy is about, that will help you guys also?
Oh, of course, yeah. Experience always helps.
When you guys leave these spring practices, what's the most important thing that you look to in the summer? Is it to get away from football and try to, clear your mind before you really go hard into it for fall camp? What's that you look at once you're done with spring practice?
I kind of think of it just getting back to work to be in the physical shape for summer, because summer's a grind. I like to go into there prepared. I like to finish school off strong after spring ball is done, so finish off school and just prepare for the summer.
And how different is it for you ending up your junior year, going into your senior year academically, knowing exactly what to expect, kind of having a good feel for the academics? Does it help you focus more on the football end of things?
Yeah, 100%. When you take care of academics, you're able to take care of your business on the field. So when things are familiar and when you know how to navigate things, it definitely makes it much easier.
I would imagine your fondest experiences have been on the football field at the Naval Academy, but what is it that you've liked the most about the Naval Academy that's been non-football related?
Yeah, I love football here. No, it's a great time with all your friends, all the guys on the team. Just like on the weekends, being able to go out with them, just simple things like that.
But it seems like you've been able to find a way to work the academics, to work all your responsibilities on the yard, but also, like you say, to embrace and to be able to love football.
Oh yeah, 100%. It was difficult at first. Definitely an adjustment. I went to NAPS though, so I was prepared for it, but it was still a little bit of an adjustment when I came here. But once that settles and you're able to get past the little bit of the adjustment part, then it becomes easier.
And what will be your commitment to the Naval Academy this summer?
Leatherneck with the Marines.
And do you know where that will be?
I think that's in Quantico.
Okay, great. Well, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Wags, finish it out.
So when we were talking about the other inside linebackers, I don't think you mentioned Trey, Jameson, and Johnny Woodson-Brooks. Those were guys that were on the depth chart last season at the end. How are they coming along?
Well, they're doing well. Trey was just recovering from an injury, but he's back now. So as he continues to get reps, I think he'll continue to improve and get better. And Gianni, he's working too. He's taking care of things, and I think he could be a good player for us.
So you feel you're a lot of responsibility to lead the inside linebacker group now that Will's gone? I mean, a lot of you and Will took that on together, but I mean, now you're the veteran in the room.
Yeah, I definitely think I have responsibility in doing that. I think I try to go out there every day to earn the respect of the guys on the team, guys on the defense, guys in the linebacker room, and hope that they can follow me and that we can all lead together.
Are you all, when you're in meetings, are you with the outside linebackers as well now?
No, just inside linebackers.
Okay. I was curious at the striker position. They lost Xavier and even Gibbons are both graduating. So, Jackson Campbell is the guy that was on the depth chart at the end of last year, third. You feel like, there's strikers there that can get the job done?
Oh, yeah, 100%. There's a lot of competition in that room, and I think we'll be just fine.
So do you look forward to the scrimmage situations? I know that, during the spring, especially a lot of times on Saturday mornings, you'll do, more full-scale scrimmage, good on good. How important is that to everyone's development?
That's extremely important. Coming out of freshman year, I think what helped me get my biggest jump into my sophomore year was spring ball. Going good versus good, like you said, on those Saturday mornings, or just even out here on practice. It helps your development. It helped my knowledge of the playbook, help with the game speed a little bit. So I think it's huge, a lot for the young guys, huge for me as I continue to work on the things I need to improve on. So I think it's big for everyone.
Well, I was curious about that. I mean, I don't think the coaching staff really needs to see a lot of Colin Ramos. They know what you can do. You've proven it in games for, better part of 3 seasons now. Are your reps limited, and so they can look at other guys and really, some of the guys they're not sure about, or do you want the reps?
No, I want the reps. I don't think that would be smart to, say I've seen enough of him. I think I have a lot to improve on. I think I can be so much better than I was last year. So I think that'd be a little foolish for me not to go out there every day and try to improve, because I know there's plenty to do.
Well, PJ, what are some of the goals going into spring camp?
Obviously, the main thing for us, Wags, is us always just continuing to build our culture. And that's the foundation of everything we do here under Coach Newberry since we've been here, is just playing with the lead eat. And that's something that we're going to continue to hammer through fourth quarters, through spring ball, all those things. That's where everything starts for us, is a lead eat. And the next thing that we've really talked to the guys about is just building on our style of play and our pillars defensively. And that's just, us being an even better fundamental football team on the defensive side of the ball. So that's really been our main focus, is our foundation, is our elite eat, and then our pillars on defense, our tackling, our ball destruction, our tackling, our block destruction, our ball disruption, and then what Coach Newberry calls our FTD, our fixation to detail, and really diving into the scheme. I think we're playing a ton of young guys too. Right now, I feel like this is maybe as green as we've been since I've been here. Like, we ran a third group out there yesterday that was all 11 guys were freshmen, and all 11 guys are talented, but they don't quite understand how we play the game yet and our style of play. And that's something that we want to see a huge jump this spring, is that those young guys really dive into just how we go about playing the game of football, not just what we do, but more importantly, how we do it.
Well, I was just going to say, you have a lot of returning talent on that side of the ball. You look at the secondary returns intact.
Yep. You
got a couple linebackers. What do you feel good about some of the experience you're bringing back?
Oh, absolutely. I'm super, super excited about this group. And I think we've really attacked everything this offseason the way that we've wanted them to. It's been a joy to watch these guys so far to this point. By no means are we a finished product. We got a lot of work to do, but we're able to jump into some things that we haven't been able to do and progress scheme wise a little bit more through 3 days than we probably have in years past. You look last year, we had 9 returning starters. This year we got however you want to look at it, 7 or 8, just depending on what you do, looking at nose guard with a guy that played a significant amount of time coming back for us. So we still got a lot of depth coming back. So what it's enabled us to do is dive further into the scheme through 3 days, which is good. But at the same time, it's getting some of those young guys, baptized by fire a little bit because of the amount of defense that we're able to carry.
You have a pair of rising seniors who have played a lot of snaps over their careers in Colin Ramos and Rayon Lane. Are they emerging as leaders of the unit?
Absolutely. I mean, all eyes are on those two guys at all times. They both have played a ton of football for us. They're both extremely skilled players. I think they're both stepping into the leadership roles extremely well, in their own manner too. Those guys are, neither one of them are, win one for the Gipper speech guys or anything like that, but they're guys that go to work. And they lead in their own manner. And I've been really impressed with them because they're both very demanding of their teammates, and they're not going to be this loud, boisterous, deliver some type of articulate speech guy, but they know how to get to each one of their teammates in a constructive and concise manner.
Officially, we list 7 returning starters on defense for what it's
7.
worth. Mike, James.
So, Coach, when you look back at the end of spring, what will you need to have seen to call it a success?
I will need to see that when we look at the tape, it looks like a blur. It looks like there's 11 gold helmets flying around to the football, playing with intelligence, playing smart, playing fast, playing violent, and playing together. That's really what I want to look at. We've got to be solidified at all 11 positions defensively. Like Scott just said, we list 7 returning starters, which some of those guys are getting challenged by young guys, which is great. But I want a really, really rock solid 2 deep as well. And I'm really I think we've got to be able to play more guys than just 11 for us to be ultimately successful for what we want to do in the fall. We've got to have a good solid rotation. So we've got to develop a lot of these young guys, but regardless of who's out there, the 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, whatever it is, I want to see guys playing our style of ball. I want to see smart. I want to see fast. I want to see violent, and I want to see guys playing together.
So option defense, being at Navy is a big part of what you do. And a lot of the foundation for that usually gets set in the spring when you go, ones against ones, but you have a new offense that you're lining up in that situation this year. Do that kind of, when you look at the option defense that you're laying out, do you have to make any changes to account for that?
That's a great question. We're learning defensively really as we go too, with what we're seeing from Coach Cronick in the offense, and how we've got to prepare our guys to have a certain form of success on the field. We got to make sure we don't put them in bad situations. It's always a delicate balance, like how much option defense do you put in to go against the offense, and how much stuff do you do traditionally to make sure that we're continuing to grow with the stuff that we're going to play, 10 of the 12 regular season games, so it's always a delicate balance for us to try to figure those things out. I think that's one of the beauties of having so many guys that are coming back, is they're able to compartmentalize those things, because defensively they're 2 totally different animals. Is how you defend the option, and then how you defend more traditional things. And we're seeing a wide variety of things from the offense in 3 days. That's going to challenge us to be able to have both of those defenses in and get really good at them.
So because you are facing a new offense when you're going ones on ones, how does the team react to that? Are they enjoying like something new as part of the spring?
Absolutely. The spring is, football, you compete against each other, obviously. So it's brother on brother out there, it's bragging rights, day in and day out. And you got a day in between of practice. So, you get your brother on one play, one day, you're going to hear about it for the next 48 hours until you get back out there and have another opportunity to get after them. So yeah, it's spirited. You can already see through 3 practices that the offense is obviously much improved, and those guys are playing with a heck of a lot more hair on fire and spirit and togetherness, which is great to see just in terms of the football team. But we love it. We get a chance to go against them and compete, and iron sharpens iron. We need to play at a high level. We need them to play at a high level. We need special teams to play at a high level. I think Coach Brown does an amazing job with our special teams group and the way that they get after it and compete as well. So I think, when you guys get an opportunity to get out to practice and you see us, whether it's on offense, defense, special teams, you see us as a whole, you see Navy football, you're going to see guys out there competing against each other. Not a lot of brother-in-law going on. Guys want bragging rights. They want an opportunity to compete and get better, and really improve.
Wyckoff.
Coach, for a developmental program like yours, does that make these spring practices even more important?
Oh, I think every chance we have an opportunity to go out there, it's extremely important. We talk. We just met with the defense and just met with the linebacker. Every day is an interview. Every single day is an interview. You can't have an off day. You may have a bad moment or something along those lines, but you can't let those things turn into bad days. And I think that's what's encouraging about this group so far this offseason is nobody's perfect. Everybody's going to make a mistake from here to there, but we haven't let those things steamroll into really bad days or anything like that. Everybody has a moment here, a moment there. But I think these are extremely critical. You know, we're at the end of this week, you know, we'll be more than 30% done with spring ball. It just, you can take that hourglass, flip it over, and the sand's running out already. So guys have to have a sense of urgency about competing and improving as soon as we step in the meeting room, as soon as we step in the weight room, on the field. So yeah, there is a big sense of urgency for us, for every guy on the football team.
And how is your comfort level having done this as a coordinator for the first time last year? Do you feel that you're more effective now that you've got that under your feet and you're able to look back and move forward in this, your second year dealing with spring practices?
You know, I think I'm really fortunate that we got everybody back on the defensive staff. You know, I think that's where it all sort of starts for us, is that we can install plays, go through the nuances of each play, what little corrections we've made from our cut-ups and things like that we've watched through the season. And there's just that continuity there, that we're able to just sort of hit the ground running a little bit more. And I think that puts me a little bit more at ease with some of those things. I'd be remiss if I didn't say I don't feel a heck of a lot more comfortable. There was a lot of anxiety at times last year because, you know, it's the first time doing any of those things. You know, but at the same time, I'm still on edge, just because I was talking about with the players every day is an interview. It's the same thing with us as coaches, you know. So we got to make sure that we're on edge and everything is done in the correct manner and we're attacking things the right way. But it's just, this group has been really, really fun to be around so far. And the same thing with this entire football team and the staff. I'm really excited about where we're headed as a program.
You mentioned all your defensive coaches returning. What was the biggest thing that made you want to return this year?
I think we got unfinished business. You know, I really do. I think we had some opportunities that slipped through our hands at times last year, and we've been so close for too long. To be totally honest with you, the first meeting with the defense this offseason this is the breakthrough year. You know, we've been knocking on the door. We come in there every Monday after games and say, we're this close. It's this play. It's that play. We're done with that. It's over. Everything that we work through right now is about breaking through, and this being our year in terms of capitalizing on everything that we've put in. And like we said, we had 9 returning starters last year. We got 7 this year. Like, we were still a fairly young football team last year, and there's no excuses. We got to get the job done. We got to break through this year. So I feel like we've got a lot of unfinished business, and we know that we're working towards a common goal, and this is our year.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Scott.
All right, we'll make another trip around. Wags.
So talking about some of the positions you have to fill, down linemen, you know, obviously Donald Biscuit Bernard played a lot of snaps and did a lot of good things, and he's gone. And Clay Cromwell, same thing. 2 very reliable guys who are high-level performers. I think you were referencing Landon Robinson as a nose guard who's got some experience, but nowhere near as much as Biscuit.
Sure.
And what about tackle? What are you seeing at those 2 spots? You got some promising candidates?
Yeah, I think if you ask anybody on the staff, Wags, Coach Hall has recruited as well as anybody here in terms of developing his room in the defensive line. And I think a perfect example of that is really Landon Robinson. You know, we've had Biscuit, who's been just a mainstay for us at the nose guard position, and Landon gets in there and gets a little bit of action last year in our dime packages, and ends up, you know, has 4 sacks on the year. You know, it was extremely productive for us. He's just a stalwart in the weight room. He does those things, and I think you look at the defensive end position, and you know, unfortunately, we lose Jacob Busick for most of the season with an injury, but then Jay Reed steps in there and is just extremely productive at that position. You know, and I see the same thing. Like, Clay Cromwell's been an absolute stud for us the last few years. Well, you know, he's not walking through those doors anytime soon. You know, that's done. And I see a bunch of guys that are playing the tackle position that are going to be really good players for us there. We got Kendall Whiteside that's over there playing at a high level. You got Tyler Narayan, who's played some snaps for us. He's put on some good weight. He's flying around, doing some really good things for us. You see some young guys coming along, like Terrence McCauley as well. So I see some young guys at that position, at those positions, defensive line, that I just really impressed with Coach Hall, the way he's recruited, the way he trains those guys. I've got my faith that these 15 practices, we're going to see some guys really solidify their spots on the football team and see no drop off in production at that spot.
What about the striker position where you lose Xavier McDonald and even Givens?
Sure. And both those guys were really productive players for us. That's got to be a position that we've got to impact football games at that position. And right now you've got Jackson Campbell, who's played a bunch of positions since he's been here at Navy. I see him really growing at that spot. Love the energy he brings to practice every day. He's still got some things to learn at the position. He'll tell you that, but I love the way he's going about his business. We've got Riley Bergeson, who's back from injury, made some real nice plays in practice yesterday playing out there. We moved Jay Sean McClain from safety down there. Had a couple really nice plays at practice yesterday. And just seeing that production, I think that production at that position is going to continue to go forward. But those are really the three guys that have started to make an impact at that spot. All of those guys, like I referenced before, are raw and green, and Coach Brown, I know, is going to bring those guys along. We ask a lot from that position. How you play the option defense compared to how you play the traditional defense are two totally different animals. So we have a lot of work to do with those guys, but I think they're up for the challenge.
And last on that front, you would figure that based on experience and past performance, Johnny Woodson Brooks would be the heir apparent at the Mike spot behind Will Harbor with him going. Anyone else that you're seeing that's making some noise at that position?
Yeah, we are super green at inside linebacker. You got Colin Ramos out there flying around. Some of the young guys that have really stepped up to me. The number one guy that's really impressive, had a couple of really nice plays our style of football, is Job Grant. He's really been impressive through 3 days of practice. Excited about him and where he's headed. I think we've got some other guys that are at that position. I think Liam Barbie's had an excellent offseason to this point. Elijah Oatsfall's done a nice job. Ian Pouchot started to come along as well. I think the two freshmen are really talented, bigger body guys that can run and hit. They got to learn the defense in Coleman Cawley and Rod Olson. I think they both have excellent instincts and are dense dudes that can hit. So we've got some able bodies there. Coach Wimberly and myself, we got our hands full in terms of making sure that those guys are able to pick up and execute the defense at a high level.
Well, real quick before I pass over, you have a lot of guys sitting out spring at that spot, like Kyle Jacob and Trey Jameson, or are they running?
Trey Jameson is back up and running now. So he was out for a little bit of fourth quarters. He's back up and running. He got a few plays in there yesterday at practice, and he's going to be moving up the depth chart with what we've seen from him through a few days. Kyle is out right now. So Kyle's out right now, just getting himself healthy to where he can be an impact player for us. But I've got a ton of faith in Kyle Jacob and who he is. I mean, he's an exceptional football player that we can't wait to get back out on the field.
I believe Marcus Blazard's another guy who could be coming back from a Mormon mission, correct?
He is. I have no idea if I'm allowed to talk about him.
No, you can.
Yeah.
You can. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, so he'll be back coming from his mission. Super excited about him. He's a guy that played and was productive for us a couple years ago. Went on a mission. Have been corresponding with him via email for the last couple years. So I can't wait to see him. Just talked to his dad a couple days ago. about him returning and getting back here and for training this off season this summer.
Mike, James.
So, Coach, I know teaching and evaluation is really the what makes up the bulk of the spring, but how much do you use it as a chance to maybe try new things on defense and things after the end of last year that you're thinking about maybe you want to introduce?
Yeah, we will definitely experiment in the spring. You know, we really dove into a lot of different things this winter that we feel like we've got to do to get better defensively, and it's simple. You know, it's not always like a major scheme overhaul. It's how we teach, you know, a certain coverage or how we teach a certain technique. You know, and we had a couple staffs come here. We visited with a few staffs. We got out just the same way that you know, the players are looking and honing their craft. We're doing the same thing coaching wise. You know, so then we take those things that we've learned in the winter and we've learned doing various studies on other teams that have been productive defensively, and then we try to implement them to our guys, whether it's technique or overall scheme. But that's a great question because we do a good amount of that. You know, right now I haven't got to a ton of that outside of the technique stuff, but as we move forward, and I think what your question asked earlier about what we see from our offense, you know, that could dictate how much of those things we're able to do as well.
Well, that's kind of leads into my next question is when you evaluate whether or not these things are working, but you're also working with some green players that may or not, maybe get it, maybe they don't. You know, how do you balance deciding when you evaluate this stuff? Yes, this is working, or it might work if the players kind of grasp it a little bit better. They're still young. How do you kind of balance that out?
Yeah, I think just open discussions with our staff, and I think it goes back to the staff continuity again. Like, all right, hey, can we handle this today, guys? You know, and literally, like and I'll give you an example. Yesterday, like we're looking at the practice plan, and there's some fundamental work that we really wanted to get in, but we had, you know, a pretty heavy day in terms of the amount of reps we're going against the offense. So literally we pull up the practice plan and this is how we operate as a defensive staff. And we got all these, you know, 5-minute blocks out there and then the stuff that's set versus the offense. And we're moving things around on the practice plan based on what's best for our guys. You know, Coach Hall's going to speak up and say, hey, like that may be a little too taxing in this period, you know, for the defensive line, because this is what's coming next. So everything for us defensively, I want to be a collaboration. I want it to be a thing where we have open lines of communication in the staff room. And I think our coaches do an amazing job to know what their guys can chew on, what they can handle, and what they cannot. And I'm probably the quick one to pull stuff too. Like I'd rather do less and be a heck of a lot more proficient at it than just do a ton and not really be good at anything.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank
Scott
you.
Wyckoff, finish us off. We got about 7 minutes.
All right, Coach, what's the dynamic been like with you guys? You've got your entire defensive staff coming back, but a lot of new faces and some new minds to pick on offense. How has that been?
Oh, it's been awesome. I mean, just the energy in that room. You know, we're obviously there's a thin wall between us, so you hear those guys, you know, chopping it up and laughing and doing that type of stuff. There's a great energy in the room. Coach Chronic has been just an amazing addition to the staff. You know, he's been great for me. You know, obviously he's been a head coach for a long time, and I don't want to speak for Coach Newberry, but I'm sure he's going to be able to offer some insight for him. But being a coordinator, being a head coach, you know, I just really value and trust his opinion. He's a great person. So in the short time we've worked together, I've been nothing but impressed with him. Jay Guillermo, our offensive line coach, I think he's really bringing an edge to the offensive line, and just been a joy to work with. And then David Cole, you know, DC, working with the snipes, working with the slot backs, those guys. He's been awesome, and he's as good as gold, man. He's another Cincinnati guy. So as many Cincinnati guys as we can get on the staff, you know, the better the better obviously the staff's going to be, so you got, myself, you got Ricky Brown, and then we got DC representing the 513 here in Annapolis. So we're pretty fired up about that. But I think those guys have been an amazing addition. They've pumped a ton of life into the program. It's really a similar situation to when, we got here back in 2019, so it's really sort of a wild thing to sort of think about when I came with Coach Newberry, and he was the defensive coordinator, and he brought myself and Kevin Downing with him. So we were sort of the three new guys, with everybody else haven't been here already. So you just want to welcome them with open arms, the same way that, Ashley Ingram and Mick Yakitis and all those guys, welcomed us with open arms. So it's been awesome. I think it's been an absolute grand slam, not just a home run, but a grand slam hire.